Chapter 181 Breaking Through the Shadow Stardust. The demoness should have been wounded, too. She was probably frightened and escaping to somewhere else. They wouldn't be able to catch her even if they pursued her. After the man had been sent to the hospital, the doctor didn't find anything strange on his body. He made it clear that the man was very weak, and there were signs of severe blood loss. Mo Fan and Ling Ling stood guard at the hospital, all the way until the sun rose again. Only after they ensured the man's condition wasn't abnormal did they leave. "Are you sure he won't shed again?" After walking out of the hospital, Mo Fan couldn't help but ask Ling Ling. "Don't worry, although I can't investigate just what kind of creature it is, I'm sure that it won't appear during daytime," Ling Ling said. "Just what is he, human, or a magical beast?" Mo Fan felt very hesitant about what to do next. If she said he was a demon, well, the man in the hospital was actually no different from a normal human. Calling him a human, Mo Fan had personally seen it shed its human skin, turning into a ferocious creature. "I need to go back home and research. However, our commission can be considered complete. The remaining trivial things can be left to the city hunter squad," Ling Ling said. Based on the way Ling Ling spoke, she made it sound like the city hunter squad was their subordinate. This made Mo Fan feel like the authority of a venerable hunter was indeed something. "Don't worry, I'll return to school first. Will the city hunter squad take care of the kid?" Mo Fan looked at the little boy still sucking his thumb next to him. This kid seemed to be scared of Mo Fan. He thought Mo Fan was going to take him on yet another free bungee jump from the building. As he looked at Mo Fan, tears filled his eyes. "Yeah, you can return to school first. After the man has sent the commission fee to us, we will transfer you half of it." Ling Ling also didn't say much. She had an adorable appearance, but as she pushed up her thick, black glasses, she suddenly seemed to be old and overworked. Mo Fan returned to the school just after dawn. He was so exhausted that he fell asleep the second he laid down. He didn't even think about the battles with the ugly demons. If he would have encountered this kind of magical beast monster in the past, Mo Fan would definitely be an insomniac now. After being in Bo City's hunter squad for a period of time and experiencing the calamity of Bo City, this kind of thing was no longer able to affect him. When he finally woke up, the day was dark. If it wasn't for his stomach rumbling, he could probably have continued sleeping longer. After crawling out of his bed, Mo Fan ran toward the dining hall. There were only a few people left in the dining hall. In the large dining hall, the lights were rather cold and cheerless. The only person there was Mo Fan, sitting there wolfing down his food. Ah, the feeling of being full is great. After belching loudly, Mo Fan left the dining hall feeling very satisfied. Clearsky Hunter Agency's efficiency was indeed very high. Just as Mo Fan returned to his dormitory, he received a transfer notification of 150,000 RMB. This was genuine money. Mo Fan felt some excitement. Although it was quite a distance from a million, he finally had a proper source of income. He believed that if he slowly saved it up, he would eventually save enough to purchase a spirit-grade lightning seed. When that happened, his strength would also receive a great increase. A few days later, Mo Fan hadn't received any messages from Ling Ling. Mo Fan didn't go and investigate, he was just peacefully cultivating. His shadow stardust had some clear transformations emerging from it. A layer of black silk was wrapping around the outside of it like a subverted halo. Mo Fan clearly remembered the exact same thing happening when his fire and lightning elements were breaking through to the intermediate level. Their magic lights were being used as a cocoon. "All right, tonight, we'll break through with you." Mo Fan was excited. It seemed his shadow stardust had finally reached a critical point and was going to break through the tiny stardust and open up a new world for itself. "Little Loach pendant, it's up to you now." Mo Fan removed the little Loach pendant from his chest and gave it a kiss before praying for a blessing. After finding a quiet place to sit, Mo Fan entered his own spiritual world and began to attack the cultivation barrier of the shadow element. After his previous experiences, Mo Fan was more understanding of what was required here and understood what was called all in one go. Mo Fan wasn't going to waste his own mental energy like the way he had before. Instead, he meditated normally first, to allow himself to reach his best state. He didn't attempt to do anything, it would be a waste of his mental energy. A magician's mental energy was limited. Wasting even just a little bit when attacking his cultivation barrier could lead to a fatal defeat. What appeared to be a large tide emerged within his spiritual world. A beach was then unveiled. The muddy sand that was covered by the sea during all times of the year also appeared. At a glance, it was actually muddy ground, like the ocean had withdrawn from this area. Since a large tsunami was coming by, the usual tide should be withdrawing. The ebbing of the tides wasn't due to the tsunami, it was due to the attack of a big omen. Mo Fan was currently storing and refining his power. He turned his intent into a ferocious, surging tsunami. He wanted to burst the cultivation barrier before him, he wanted to occupy an even larger area. "Come, break for me," Mo Fan shouted in his heart. In an instant, his mental energy turned into what appeared to be a torrential wave. Without hesitation, it attacked the cultivation dam that restricted his cultivation. His intent was imposing and ferocious. As an intermediate magician, Mo Fan's intent was already much stronger than others. This time, he definitely used what he had learned from that lesson in the past. Using a massive spurt of energy was precisely the method of breaking through the stardust. At least, Mo Fan thought that he couldn't be gentle toward the shadow stardust. As expected, the shadow stardust showed a bit of resistance in the beginning and even rebounded a mental attack back at him. The thing is, how could Mo Fan not know that there'd be such a mental attack coming? In the past, when he wasn't strong at all, he clenched his teeth and endured it. Knowing that there was such a mental attack coming, what was there to be afraid of? Mo Fan now possessed 2 nebulas. A mental attack from a stardust was nothing compared to genuine might. After enduring it for a little bit, Mo Fan used the burst to break into the shadow stardust's dam, and it nearly fell apart. The midnight star halos around the stardust were cracking. After breaking, he could clearly feel that the new shadow element was a beast that wanted to obtain an even bigger territory. It frantically swallowed up everything in its surroundings, condensing them into a domain that belonged to itself. The small stardust area was no longer able to contain the energy of the new shadow element. It spread out, rotated, occupied space, and quickly turned into a clump of nebula. It was like a beautiful black rose blossoming inside the vast space. Shadow Nebula. Mo Fan cried out in excitement. Good. I have yet another element reaching the intermediate level. Mo Fan was naturally happy. Having one more breakthrough meant yet another intermediate spell. Although completing the drawing of the Shadow Nebula would require a period of time, Mo Fan still had some Shadow Star Atlas books that were given to him by his beloved teacher, Ms. Tong Yue. There were 3 Star Atlas books in total. It meant that once Mo Fan broke into the intermediate level with his shadow element, he would be able to directly use the intermediate magic of shadow. Fire Burst, Fiery Fist, Lightning Strike, Thunderbolt, Evading Shadow, Colossal Shadow Nail, Dimensional Summon. He was now a man who possessed 7 different spells. Who can now mess with the great Mo Fan? Chapter 182, Following the Demoness. It seems battles are necessary for my growth. It's been such a long time, and I was not even close to getting my shadow element's stardust to the next level. However, with just 2 battles against 2 monsters, I am now at the nebula level. Mo Fan said to himself. Cultivating without any practical experience was, after all, not very effective. Right now, Mo Fan felt that he should start getting involved in more battles. When he got back to the hostel, Mo Fan was quite surprised when he saw his 2 roommates were present in the room. Usually at this time, Zhao Manyan would have gone out for a date. He was not willing to spend the long night alone satisfying himself with his own hands. Zhang Pinggu would always go out. He was an overly friendly person, and when there was no one in the hostel, he would go to the other hostels to gossip. Mo Fan, we were about to call the police if you don't show up soon, exclaimed the relieved Zhang Pinggu when he saw Mo Fan enter the room. What? I was cultivating privately, said the confused Mo Fan. Enough, don't cause any more panic, go and cultivate, said Zhao Manyan impatiently. Zhang Pinggu smiled awkwardly after hearing Zhao Manyan's words and shut his mouth. On the other hand, although he was unable to understand what the duo was talking about, Mo Fan felt that there was no need to dwell on the matter. His phone rang just as he was about to take a rest. Fan Mo, an adorably pure and cute voice sounded in his ear. Little girl, what's up? Asked Mo Fan. I've done some research on the blood sample on the skin shed by the demon, and used its blood to make something like a tracker, said Ling Ling. You even know how to do this? Asked the surprised Mo Fan, who would never have thought that this little girl was so talented. Where are you now? I'll go and find you. The husband said that if you could save his wife, He will pay us a total of 1 million RMB. The money is deposited already, said Ling Ling. 1 million? Repeated a startled Mo Fan. This man was way too generous. But when Mo Fan thought about it, this matter was tightly related to the lives of his family, and the man would probably pay even more than 1 million. After all, what was the point of keeping the money if they were killed? Are you at the institution? I'm just nearby, so I will come to you now, said Ling Ling. Okay. Mo Fan met up with Ling Ling at the ground floor of the hostel. Ling Ling seemed to be quite familiar with the Pearl Institution. He then brought her to a beverage shop and bought her a cup of strawberry milk tea. Oh, you probably don't drink that, said Mo Fan as he thought of the demeanor of this little girl, easily equivalent to a grown woman. He reached his hands out after he handed over the milk tea to the girl. Did I say no? Ling Ling, however, snatched the milk tea away from Mo Fan and started drinking right through the straw, filling up her mouth with the sweet milk tea. Perhaps Ling Ling noticed that her actions were not ladylike, and she quickly changed the topic. How come there's so few people today? It's the holiday, of course. The students have all gone home or gone for a vacation, and the teachers are probably not here anymore, I guess, replied Mo Fan. Right, let's not talk about this. Let me show you what I've created, Ling Ling said as she placed her laptop right in front of Mo Fan. What is this? Asked Mo Fan, looking at the digital map that had appeared on the laptop with a confused face. The map of Shanghai. What else could it be? This is no ordinary map. As soon as I entered the data of the demon, her position will be marked on this map right away, and she will have no way to hide. Be it any streets or the underground tunnels underneath Shanghai, we will be able to locate her immediately, said Ling Ling as she raised her little head proudly. At that moment, she was no different from a little girl that was showing off her new dress. You are really so smart. Being able to make something so high-tech. Mo Fan complimented her sincerely. Of course, I am a senior hunter. I am not good in actual combat, but no one could be better than me in supporting the team, said Ling Ling, as a smile blossomed on her face. Shall we begin then? 1 million. I have never seen so much money in my entire life, said Mo Fan excitedly, other than the award the university had given him, of course. Money, money, and more money. Mo Fan was extremely deprived of money, and although this mission was quite tough, if it was for the 1 million. Ling Ling nodded and took out a USB and inserted it into her laptop. Soon, something appeared on the screen, as if it had been activated. Mo Fan stared at the digital map closely and waited for the position of the demon to appear. While waiting, Mo Fan asked, "What are these demons? Why are they a human one moment and a demon in the next moment?" Strictly speaking, they should be humans, but they are probably infested by some kind of parasite demon. In the day, they are no different from any human, but at night, the demons in their body need nutrients to survive. So they take control over them and use them to hunt for nutrients while they are unconscious, explained Ling Ling. No wonder. When I killed that male demon previously, it reverted to a normal human. Could it be that if I kill the demons while they have control over their host, then the host will be freed from them? Asked Mo Fan. Seems like it. I had the people of the hunter squadron observing the husband, and over this period of time, the husband did not turn back into a demon again. What you did might have worked. Let us see where the demon lady went to, said Ling Ling. Mo Fan started looking for the red dot signifying the location of the demon Ling Ling was talking about. What is the black dot, then? It's our location. There's the red dot. Huh? What is this? Spluttered Ling Ling in surprise. Mo Fan stuttered as well, as he didn't know what was happening. On the digital map was a whole lot of red dots. These red dots were not far away from one another, and were all around the two of them. Ling Ling, could it be that your tracker malfunctioned? Didn't you say that this could track the demon? How come there are so many red dots? Don't tell me that this demon could still create different clones of itself? Asked Mo Fan as he tried to hold in his laughter. Ling Ling, who was also confused, also thought for a second that her tracker malfunctioned since so many red dots had appeared. Impossible, this tracker of mine is definitely working fine. Then what is this? Look at these red dots, they fill up a huge area. As Mo Fan continued talking, he suddenly realized something. Cold sweat started beading on his forehead. What if the tracker was working fine? Did that mean that? Ling Ling, quickly tell me if it is possible that this parasite demon can spread like a disease. Mo Fan asked very seriously, as he stopped joking around. Chapter 183 Parasitic Magical Beast on Campus. Ling Ling was also stunned. The most unique traits of the parasite demons were how concealed they were and how they could spread like a virus. In fact, some parasite demons were contagious, but it has been quite some time since the last appearance of such creatures. "Wait a minute, let me confirm this with someone," said Ling Ling, calling someone hurriedly as she obviously understood how dire the situation was right now. Mo Fan could only sit at the side worriedly while Ling Ling reported the situation to the person on the other end of the phone. "She is asking that if the demoness had the habit of drinking blood," asked Ling Ling. "Yes, when I traced the demoness that night to room 102, she hung a girl up on the ceiling and waited for the girl's blood to drip into her mouth," replied Mo Fan. Ling Ling then quickly passed Mo Fan's answer to the woman on the other end of the phone. Not more than a few seconds later, Ling Ling hung up the phone. Mo Fan saw panic and blankness in her eyes as her expression changed drastically. And after she hung up the phone, Ling Ling stared at the red dots with a weird expression. "The numbers of the red dots are increasing." Mo Fan trailed off in a very serious tone. "How is this happening? How? These red dots are right nearby. Could it be that these things are all around?" said Ling Ling in disbelief. Even as a senior hunter, it was extremely rare for her to encounter a situation like this. Contagious parasite demons were as scary as a plague. Could it be that the demon did not kill that short-haired girl because she was trying to infect her? Speculated the horrified Mo Fan. He could still clearly remember that the demoness was slowly taking her time, when in truth, she could have killed the girl right away. "It must have injected her blood into the girl and hung her up to completely exsanguinate her own blood," said Ling Ling. "That girl has been infested and she will turn into one of them at night, which means that this school—" Mo Fan trailed off, a shiver going down his spine when he looked at the red dots on the digital map. The school had been infected. The short-haired girl did not die, and presumably like that male demon, she had no idea what she did and she would even not be able to know that she would shed her skin and head out to suck blood. Oh gods, the school was filled with the nutrients essential to these parasite demons. The tracker was working perfectly. It precisely tracked the blood of the demon, but thanks to the short-haired girl that was infected by its blood, who then proceeded to infect the others, there were now countless infected people that carried the same blood. Mo Fan and Ling Ling looked into one another's eyes, and saw the disbelief there. "Fan Mo, night has arrived," Ling Ling said softly, as she looked at the silent surroundings of the school and the dark sky. I know," Mo Fan whispered back, inhaling deeply. "I will notify the Hunter Union right away." "Strange. Why are all these red dots heading in one direction at the same time?" said Ling Ling. "We are all on a holiday, but if I'm not mistaken, there is a concert at the school stadium tonight, and the tickets were completely sold out," blurted out Mo Fan, as he recalled the event that Zhang Pinggu told him about. "They probably have not shed their skins yet. The people of the Hunters Union will not make it in time, and when they get here, the entire stadium will have turned into the monster's canteen. Once everyone in the stadium is fully infected, things will get out of hand," said Ling Ling. "Besides, the people of Hunters Union probably won't be able to identify who is infected and who is not," added Mo Fan grimly. Due to the holiday, most of the teachers were absent now. Although the majority of the students were already gone, there were still over 7,000 students heading to the concert. The stadium was extremely large, and with the many hallways, stairways, and rooms, the interior of the stadium was a maze. The only place within the stadium that was spacious was the arena, but with so many students in the stadium, it was practically impossible to deal with them one by one in a short time. "The concert is about to start soon, but the red dots are still increasing. They are spreading like a virus at a very fast pace," shouted Ling Ling as she watched the rapidly spreading red dots. "What can we do to stop this? I can't possibly lay my hands on normal people carrying the infected blood," asked Mo Fan quickly. "Sister told me that the demon blood might be gathered at the thumbs of those infected, so just opening up a tiny wound and flushing out the infected blood from those who have yet to shed skin will do. As for those who have already shed their skins, you will have to kill them like you killed that male demon previously, and they will revert to normal," said Ling Ling. "Got it. Inform the Hunter Union and the teachers of the school right away, and request immediate assistance. I will head to the stadium first, and you will assist me from afar. Tell me which of them are carrying the infected blood." Mo Fan said hurriedly. "Okay, you be careful. These demons are extremely dangerous, and please don't die," replied Ling Ling worriedly. It's not like you have never seen my capabilities. Enough said. Every second wasted means another person getting infected, said Mo Fan. Through the shadows around him, Mo Fan merged with the darkness and quickly rushed towards the stadium. Shit, it's just the concert of an idol. Why are there so many of you there? Fuck, you guys just made my work even harder, swore Mo Fan as he swiftly rushed towards the stadium. The stadium was still quite some distance away from him. By the time Mo Fan got there, 3 minutes had already passed. When he arrived, there was no one outside of the stadium anymore, as everyone had entered to see the show. Fan Mo, I've contacted someone higher up in your school, and he said that I am pulling a prank. Ling Ling told him angrily. That's normal, you are just a lowly. Do you think he will believe what you said? Have you reported this to the Hunters Union? Yeah, someone at a higher rank than me has contacted the school, replied Ling Ling, sounding quite annoyed. Good. Fan Mo, there is one at the entrance. Ling Ling's voice was filled with tension. Mo Fan was now at the entrance, and saw nothing but a very big display stage with the poster of a very cute and pretty female idol in front of him. Perhaps due to the concert, the lights around were not switched on, and everything was dark. Tell me the distance and direction, whispered Mo Fan. Go straight, about 10 meters. There's nothing here, are you sure? The black and red dot has already merged together on my map. You still see nothing? Asked Ling Ling nervously. No, I see noth. Oh fuck, it's on the ceiling. Outside of the school, Ling Ling's heart started pumping quickly. She had no idea what happened, but she could hear rattling noises through her headphones. Chapter 184, Saving the People. On the other hand, Mo Fan was panting as he focused his attention on the demon scowling down at him. This demoness was covered in yellowish-green scales, slightly different from the green-scaled demoness Mo Fan encountered previously. Fortunately, he had already reached the intermediate mage level, which further enhanced his senses, or he would have been killed by this thing when it plunged down from above. Though the speed of this demoness was not as fast as the husband and wife demons Mo Fan had faced, its combat power was perhaps no less than the dark beasts in Bo City. Similar to the dark beasts, this type of demoness possessed both agility and sharp claws. The demon opened up a wound on Mo Fan's shoulders after barely touching him with its claws. But thank heaven the wound was not deep, or he would have started bleeding out. Come here, you little shit, show me what you got, taunted Mo Fan as he stood by the stairs. As if it could understand human language, the yellow-green demoness screeched and lunged towards him. As it moved towards him, it kept utilizing the terrain to shift its position, attempting to disrupt Mo Fan's line of attack. It's futile. If it was the old Mo Fan, he would be struggling to deal with this. However, as an intermediate mage now, he could instantly cast the primary tier spells. All he had to do now was wait for a chance to attack. Hiss! The demoness jumped up, clawing for Mo Fan's throat. Mo Fan quickly evaded, dodging its attack, and as he moved, angry lightning arcs could be seen forming in his right hand. Thunderstrike! Fury Break! Without hesitation, Mo Fan's right hand landed on the body of the demoness. Countless lightning serpents twined around it. The serpents covered the demoness with lightning as they burrowed into its body and paralyzed its muscles. Rose Flame! Ignite! Fire Burst! Right after the demoness collapsed to the ground, a rose-colored fire appeared on Mo Fan's left hand. The scorching rose flame exploded right in front of the demoness' face, blowing its face apart and sending it flying away. Wang! The sound of the explosion echoed around him. Mo Fan was also pushed back by the impact of the explosion, his clothes flapping in the backwash. Cautiously watching the demoness from afar, Mo Fan realized this thing no longer had any energy, much less any power to climb up. Rose Flame's might is really tyrannical. A single fire burst, Rupture was able to annihilate this monster. Mo Fan extinguished the flames on his palm as he revealed a slight smile. The demoness power should be around that of a black beast. If he was to meet a black beast now, he would be able to instantly kill them with just a lightning strike and Rose Flame's fire burst. After Mo Fan walked over to the side of the demoness, he realized that its scales had fractured during the rupture. A few seconds later, the scales fell off. The crude and sticky yellow-green skin beneath was also peeling away. Body fluids began to pour out from the crack, and a slime-covered, pale arm slowly slid out. Shedding! This situation was the same as the man who recovered. Ling Ling was right. The people who had shed into a demon would shed again to return to their original state. Water, water. A girl with her entire body covered in mucus came out of the decaying husk of the demon. The girl's face was extremely pale, and her lips looked like they were about to crack. She opened eyes filled with helplessness and panic as she looked at Mo Fan, hoping he could pull her away from the parasitic pain. Watching this incredibly pretty girl rely on her natural instincts to beg for help made Mo Fan quite emotional. Mo Fan removed his oversized t-shirt and wrapped the girl in it before carrying her to a rest area nearby. After buying a bottle of water from the vending machine, he gave it to the girl covered in green mucus. The girl grabbed onto the bottle and frantically drank it. Mo Fan bought a couple more of them. After seeing her recovering a little bit of her strength, he opened his mouth to say, "Wait here, I'll call people to take you to the hospital." Don't go." The girl looked at Mo Fan with her eyes turning red. Her body was still shivering nonstop. She was still extremely scared. She didn't know what had happened, but she could feel pain. She could feel that she had done some incredibly scary things. The man who had saved her definitely gave her a sense of comfort at this time. "Don't worry, there'll be people here to help you very soon," Mo Fan said. Mo Fan didn't dare to stay here for too long, as he hastily left for the gym. "Fan Mo, are you okay? I saw the red dot disappear." Ling Ling's voice popped up in his ear. "Go and pick up the girl outside, and prepare some clothes for her," Mo Fan said. "All right." Ling Ling hesitated for a moment, and then she said with a weak voice, "Or, don't go in. Wait for the school and the Hunter Union to come here and deal with it. It's far too dangerous inside." Ling Ling didn't want Fan Mo to take unnecessary risks. The matter was no longer their responsibility. The red dots inside were still increasing. If Mo Fan was to charge in and get surrounded, then there's a chance he'd become one of them. The two of them had encountered this while on their mission. The school would isolate the infection or catch the demons. The truth was, if they hadn't discovered the existence of these parasitic and infectious magical beasts, then the number of infected might even have been 2 or 3 times greater. All they could do now was to inform the Hunter Union and the school board about this horror, and leave them to handle the rest of the things. "Fan Mo?" Ling Ling realized it was quiet on the other side, so she continued to ask. "Guide me to the next closest red dot." His voice came from the other end. "But..." "All right, you must be careful, make sure you fight in a monitored area so I can help you." Ling Ling didn't say anything else. Through the monitor, Ling Ling was able to see the spacious gymnasium entrance. A shirtless man was running towards it, and that person was precisely her partner, Fan Mo. For some reason, Ling Ling could tell that he was definitely not afraid of a magical beast. The resting area's location was sent to Ling Ling's monitor. She found the girl Mo Fan had saved currently curled up beside the vending machine. Her tiny body was continuously shivering, and her skin was exceedingly pale. She was wearing a t-shirt that seemed quite cheap. The large t-shirt happened to be enough to cover the girl's thighs that were not stained with gory goo. But it did not cover her eyes, still filled with what seemed to be nightmares and helpless fear.